On January 20th, 1649, they passed the instrument of government, which is a constitution. They're going to double down later on. 1653, 4 years later, the instrument of government is the Constitution of the Commonwealth of England, Scotland, and Ireland. It's going to get more codified and etched into stone, 1653. But they say it's the first sovereign codified and written constitution in England. The instrument of government, they passed an instrument of government January 20th, 1649. January 20th, 1649, the Parliament of England passed the instrument of government. So they were working with, that was kind of like their Articles of Confederation. And then later, March 17th of the same year, the Rump is going to pass an act abolishing the monarchy. 2 days later, an act is going to abolish the House of Lords. May 19th, 1649, the Rump passed an act declaring England to be a commonwealth. Simple declaration said that Parliament would appoint officers and ministers under them for the good of the people without any king or House of Lords. The instrument of government had split the government of England across three elements. You had the executive power. It was held by the Lord Protector, although this post was elective, not hereditary. Appointment was to be held for life. But it was elections. So we get elections. We get three branches of government. We get a constitution. Eventually we're going to get the English Bill of Rights. We didn't get it from the royalists. We got it from the anti-royalists. We got it from the parliamentarians. We got it from the roundheads. Legislation was raised in Parliament. These had to be called triennially, with each sitting for at least 5 months, and an English Council of State. So they had executive legislation and an English Council of State, which was like 20 members that the Lord Protector was allowed to discuss this and that. So there's three branches of government, but not really judicial, but kind of like a council of advisors instead of a judiciary that could say, no, that's not. But we're already seeing checks and balances. We're already seeing the three branches, Montesquieu's three branches of government, constitutionalism. We're seeing the birth of America, American Revolution kind of stuff. The Lord Protector was far from an absolute ruler, with his powers limited in many ways. All three branches of government had checks on each other. The Lord Protector having the authority to veto a bill from Parliament, but a second majority vote after 20 days could pass the bill. So that means you could override the veto. The Parliament could override the veto of the Lord Protector. Look at this. This is exactly like Congress and the President. The instrument declared that the supreme legislative authority of the Commonwealth of England, Scotland, and Ireland, and the dominions thereunto belonging, shall be and reside in one person, the people assembled in Parliament, the style of which person should be the Lord Protector of the Commonwealth. It's a republic. Commonwealth is a republic because we're all going to share the wealth of England, Scotland, and Ireland in common. I remember I told a neighbor in Muldraw, I was living in a trailer park in Muldraw, and I told my neighbor, hey, that Commonwealth is just a synonym for republic. And he goes, nuh-uh, a hex tool. Yeah, in Patago. Provision for a standing army was made of 10,000 horse and dragoons and 20,000 foot in England, Scotland, Ireland for the defense and security thereof, and a convenient number of ships for guarding of the seas. The instrument defined the numbers of MPs to be elected to Parliament, but at the same time disbarred royalists from election and temporarily from voting, and Catholics from election or voting. So they barred the Catholics, which the Catholics have been killing people for thousands of years. So that's smart, but the Church of England and the way they went about it kind of backfires. But the Royalists banned the Catholics, because the Catholics and Royalists were always one and the same. Electors needed to hold property holding at least 200 pounds. So if you had at least property worth at least 200 pounds, then you could be an elector. The trial of King Charles I started January 20th, 1649. This is Charles of Fife. He's just a guy. I don't even know why I say Martin Luther King is the only king I recognize. Fred Hampton is the only god that I worship, or my brain. I don't worship any churches. The only church I recognize is my own thoughts, my own existence, my own experiences, my own 27 sensations. There should have been 135 commissioners involved in the trial, but only 68 actually turned up. The House of Lords refused to support the trial, so only members of the House of Commons formed the commission. The chief judge was John Bradshaw. John Cook was given the role of leading the prosecution. Well, hot diggity dog. We got ourselves a Constitution. January 20th. Where do you think this Constitution stuff's going to go? I got a couple more dates here before January 20th. Today's January 20th, so, let's all celebrate. But you had 1649 is when, but 1642, Charles of Fife, January the 3rd, just earlier, he tried to arrest like 5 guys, the 5 members, John Denzel, John Pym, William Strode, Hasselrig. The king had marched with his guards into the House of Commons chamber, only to find that the 5 members had fled. And that's it. He tried to arrest them, and they had already left. So, and then on the orders of the Long Parliament, Sir John Hotham, 1st Baronet, seizes the arsenal at Kingston upon Hull. Then 7 years later, okay, now fast forward 7 years later, we have fucking English Civil War, Irish, Scotland, everybody's at each other's throats because of this fucking Charles of Fife. Born in Fifeland, his brother's Barney, January 4th, 1649, the Rump Parliament declared that the people are under God, the original of all just power, that the Commons of England, being chosen by and representing the people, have the supreme power in this nation. This was used as the basis for the House of Commons to pass acts of Parliament, which did not have to be passed by the House of Lords or receive royal assent. 2 days later, the Rump alone passed the act, creating the High Court of Justice that would try Charles as a traitor, and then he's going to get tried and executed later that month. What? January 15th, 1649, Parliament renounces the king. You have civil wars, first with the Scots, 1637, and then in Ireland, 1641, then in England, 1642 to 46, and 1648. Charles of Fife had a residual stammer. Barney Fife, Reno 911, Keystone Cops, January 20th, 1649. We got an instrument of government. We got a constitution. England. English people, we got ourselves a constitution. Oh, shit. January 20th, 1649. I don't even have to tell you, English speakers. You guys already